Good morning, everyone. Hope we are starting 1 minute early, actually. It's 9:59. Okay, so I said to the team that we should follow this schedule very rigorously because it is a hybrid conference, and there will be people actually waiting online, speakers. So anyway, I will start now as guests are coming in still. But hope you're all doing well. And those of you who have come from abroad, we have quite an exciting lineup of speakers and participants. Welcome to Bangladesh, and it's so nice to meet everyone again in person. So as we have laid it out, the agenda, that it is kind of looking at COVID-19 from at the rear window, and taking on the learnings and looking ahead also to the future. So those who are attending for the first time, maybe I can start the visuals, please. Okay. All right. Yes, next slide. So, yes. So those who are attending for the first time, this is not the usual way we do Frugal Innovation Forum. We actually hold it in one of our centers outside Dhaka in a much more hustle-free, bustle-free environment. So in Rajendrapur or Savar, this is the picture. And but this year we had to make amends because in the middle of it, because we didn't want most of our speakers to travel 6 hours for a 1-hour panel discussion. So, and as they say, change is the only constant, and we had to change our plan in the middle of the preparation, and want to really thank the organizing team for being able to pivot so rapidly and make this happen. Frugal Innovation Forum, as we know it, is actually for the practitioners, and it's by the practitioners as well. So up until 2019, we usually have specific themes, used to have specific themes around every year. But this year is different because we have so much to talk about. And intersectorality is the name of the game. So it's, when we sat here in May 2019, last time we had in-person Frugal Innovation Forum, world was a very, very different place. Not many people knew about any pandemic. Climate change was a distant reality. BRAC's founder, Sir Fazli Hassan Abed, was alive and speaking at the panel. So simply put, there was a bit more certainty in the world, in this world. And since, as the saying goes, the rest is history. A little virus upended the world. To date, 622 million people had COVID. 6.5 million people passed away. The actual number actually will be higher, of course. But beyond the healthcare challenges, COVID left a lasting impact on the economy and education and other sectors globally. And predictably so, the marginalized people everywhere suffered the most. In Bangladesh, we saw the largest spike in poverty in the shortest possible time during COVID. Small businesses, urban, poor, informal workers suffered the most, and they are still trying to cope. Education today is in turmoil worldwide. More than 90% of the world's children have had their education interrupted by COVID-19, the largest disruption of education systems in the history. For many students, especially girls and young women, this break may become permanent, with potential consequences for their future and the future generations that follow. The pandemic has also exposed large disparities not only between countries, but particularly between different learner groups within countries as well. But the effect of the pandemic could have been far worse had people not collaborated from all across the world and in between sectors to come up with solutions, and technology played a very, very pivotal role. Just to give you an example, government in Bangladesh partnered with telco operators to get the geographical location of callers who were calling the COVID hotline. Based on the location, healthcare workers went to their houses and did what we know as syndromic surveillance. Ensured that unless serious, they stayed home and could talk to doctors through helpline. The remotest parts of the remotest part of the country with access to mobile financial services got emergency cash support from governments and other non-governmental organizations, ensuring a crucial and timely support. Education was provided through television, through feature phone, conference call features, with much broader role for community youth and parents in the education. We saw doctors in the West working with doctors in this part of the world, collaborating on treatment protocols via Zoom. But those without digital access were further excluded. Within all this, we found glimmers of hope that can have directions for the future as we are navigating an extremely uncharted territory going forward. Because of these collaborations, we had vaccine not only developed in record time, but also was delivered across the world. So as we gather here in October 2022, what is the context that we are operating under? Let's talk about Bangladesh. In Bangladesh, in Sunamganj, this year, we had 3 floods in the same year. And the speed and the ferocity was unprecedented. We heard about the Pakistan flood recently that displaced close to 33 million people. As we were just trying to recover from COVID, we are facing unprecedented inflation that have put millions on the brink of poverty. The fallout from the pandemic has created somewhere between 17.5 and 20 million new poor in this country, and many are just one shock away from falling below poverty line. We saw the sharpest rise in inflation in 11 years in August 2022. Bangladesh's out-of-pocket healthcare cost is one of the highest. Any health shock puts a family into poverty. With newer kinds of tropical illness, a small outbreak puts the entire urban healthcare infrastructure on its knees. The future of 37 million children in Bangladesh is at risk with their education severely affected by COVID-19 pandemic. Within this backdrop, many developed countries have cut down on international aid, creating a large financing gap. So clearly, the challenges are many and the resources are shrinking. So we have to do more with less. How do we do that? Think frugal, think collaboration, and make everyone a change maker. Sounds easy, but let us hear from Sir Fazle on what his parting thought during his last innovation forum as he were addressing the youth.
I think we are not quite ready in our societies to give youth the kind of chance or kind of place, kind of opportunity to play the leading role. And I think this is the change that we need to make in our societies. Firstly, I was thinking of sustainable development goals that we now have, the 17 goals that we need to achieve by 2030. I just don't see how we can attain this if we don't mobilize the youth to participate in the whole process. The number one goal is eradication of poverty in the world. It's the first time in human history that we are bold enough to say that we want to eliminate poverty in a generation. Unless we mobilize all our resources, including the youth, we will not be able to achieve that. So that's the reason I think the Sustainable Development Goal needs to mobilize the youth for getting into the implementation of Sustainable Development Goals. Secondly, I think we have not been able to explore the kind of resource youth can bring to the table, and I think that has to be done now. So I hope that the change we need to make in our society to think of youth as only to do something with, rather than bring them as actors in history, that has to be done. So I hope that that change we can bring about within our societies in a way that the youth can participate effectively in the development of the country.
I will finish today's note with one such young change maker, Fairuz, who's not present here today as she's working in Khulna. Fairuz's father was murdered when she was 13. His death caused her to spiral into depressive episodes. Later, she joined a Changemakers program run by BRAC for young people in Khulna, where she found teammates who was eager to learn about people and the human mind and wanted to do something in that regard in Bangladesh. They wanted to make a long-lasting impact in the community. Later, they founded the Moner School, means School of the Heart, a platform that raises awareness on mental health and aims to ensure equal access to mental health services. Today, the platform reaches over 12,000 people. Last year, as the recognition, she won the 2021 Goalkeepers Global Goals Changemaker Award by the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. I spoke to her yesterday. She couldn't be here as she's mentoring another group of new changemakers in Khulna as we speak. We resolve to bring about the change through changemakers like her and changemakers like you. So let us engage, collaborate, and get to work. Thank you, everyone.